Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Ooh, what a Purim I had! What a Purim! Amazing Purim. We drank a lot of inebriating liquids, and it was really wonderful. We danced, and I read the Megillah several times for several different people, and it's fine. But now, so I wasn't really sort of in a good how do you say, working order yesterday, but I am in working order today, I hope. So let's see. Let's see. All right. So we sort of finished the Torah or, and let's do a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Here we have a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Let's see, when was this given? It was given in, I'll tell you, and it's about the broken tablets. The broken tablets. The broken tablets. This week we read about how Moses broke the tablets, for came out to and how God enjoyed it, how he praised Moses for this. This was given in 1985. This speech, 1985. Okay, so how it was that Moses broke the tablets and how God praised him for it, for praising the tablets. Okay, we're going to ask a few questions, and then we're going to come to the amazing conclusion that why breaking the tablets was a good thing and why Moses got praised for why it was good. So let's first of all give charity. First of all, give charity. Here we have our charity box. Here we have our money. And charity saves from death, and for sure it saves from all other lesser severe things. And charity also brings the redemption, the future redemption, and for sure it also brings the things which are less beneficial to the whole mankind, which the future redemption is going to benefit everybody. Okay. Now here we have the story. All right. Now, oh, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, we all know this week's Torah portion also contains this terrible story about how the Jewish people, after they received the tablets and how wonderful the first tablets were, and that they were the work of God, and the printing was the writing was the writing of God. And God told the Jews exactly what to do. And the Jews heard directly from God the first two commandments, which are, I am God, your God, that took you out of Egypt, which even though it's not mentioned in command form, but it is a commandment. And it's the commandment to believe that there's God, and God chose the Jewish people, and he took them out of Egypt, and he's giving them the Torah. That's the beginning, the first of the 10 commandments. Believe in the God who took us out of Egypt, and later we'll find out that in the fourth commandment, that he creates the world. He creates us, and he loves us, and he cares about us, and he gave the Jewish people the Torah, and they're supposed to teach the whole world, etc. That's the first commandment. The second commandment is you shouldn't have any other gods. There are all sorts of other forces in the world, other powers, other luring, appealing powers which might appear even to answer our questions and our prayers and things like that. Don't worship them. Don't do it. Don't do it as much as you might want to do it. Don't worship any other power except for the one who took the Jews out of Egypt and gave them the Torah. That's it. Okay, that's the second commandment. What did the Jewish people do 40 days after they heard this in Mount Sinai? Moses went up after they all heard the 10 commandments. Moses went up on Mount Sinai, and he came down exactly 40 days later, as he said he would, with the tablets. But the Jewish people miscalculated. He went up in the middle of the day, and they counted that as one full day. So it ends up that they messed up like about 6 hours, miscalculated, and they thought that the time had already passed, and they said, when Moses isn't here. So what do you do when Moses isn't here, right? Even though that you're in the middle of the receiving bread from heaven from God and water from a rock from God, and you know that you got out of Egypt because God took you out, and you just 40 days earlier heard God say, don't worship golden calf. But as soon as Moses isn't there, what do? You worship idols. Obviously, you worship a golden calf. So they worshiped the golden calf, and Moses came down in the proper time, and he says, what's going on? Why are all the people, what type of noise is going on over there? And he realizes that the Jewish people have made a golden calf, and they're dancing around the golden calf and saying, this is the God who took us out of Egypt. So at least they didn't deny, that they have to worship the God that took them out of Egypt, but they said this is the guy that took us out of Egypt. However it is, Moshe broke the tablets. He broke them. And then because of that, he came down and he punished the Jews. And then he immediately went back up on Mount Sinai. And he went there for another 40 days, and God forgave the Jewish people. He prayed for, and then he went a third time for 40 days, and that's when God gave the second tablets. Okay, now right at the end of the Torah, the last, if you read the Bible, the end of the book of Deuteronomy, it says that the tablets that you broke, and he said that was the big miracle that God did in front of everybody, and that God said, it's a good thing you broke them. I'm very happy. Okay, let's go. Benogea regarding. Benogea to Shaviras Aluchos. This is in Yiddish. The Rebbe spoke in Yiddish. Benogea regarding Shaviras Aluchos, regarding breaking of the tablets. Zogan Chazal, the rabbi says, this is one of the things which Asem Moshe did midato. That Moses did this on his own. He did not consult God. He did it on his own. The Hiskim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and God agreed with him. Moshe had said to Brachan that Moses broke the tablets, Val had gemacht a kol v'chomer, because Moses made a logical conclusion. What's the logical conclusion? It says by the Passover offering, the Jewish people at the beginning of Judaism is, the Jewish religion began when God took the Jews out of Egypt. He took them out of Egypt. They were all slaves. He took them out of Egypt, and he took them 50 days through the desert, and they gave them the Torah. So the most important holiday in Judaism is Passover. And there was a commandment to take a sheep or a goat and eat it. It was a special way. You had to cook it, and etc. And you eat it on the night of Passover. Jews have been doing this for like 3,339 years, Passover. Something like that. So, but there's a law that says that a person, a Jew that worships idols, an idolater, cannot eat from the Passover offering. Can't eat from the Passover. So it says, just like the law says that the Passover offering is one of the 613 commandments, and the Torah says, called ben nechor lo yochel bo. It says any idol worshiper cannot eat from it. Here we have, that's just one commandment you can't eat, but the whole entire Torah. And here all of the Jewish people are worshiping idols, or they're at least participating. Some of them were active, some passive. How much more so? Right? I can't give them the Torah. I couldn't even give them a little thing like a Passover offering they couldn't eat. How much more so I can't give them such a beautiful, wonderful thing like the whole entire Torah. But it's like you catch a thief. Someone's a thief, and you say, if you're a thief, then I'm sorry, we're not going to give you a new pair of shoes. And how much more so, we're not going to give you a mansion. The same thing. The Jewish people, if they worshipped idols, so they can't get something small. How much more so they can't get a big prize? It says, and God agreed, when Hiskim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and God agreed, it says, Asher Shibarta, Yesher Koch Shibarta. That's the last of the end. The end of the Torah, it says that the tablets which you broke, Asher Shibarta, says the word Asher means Yesher Koch, good thing that you broke them. Rashi says Asher Ishur, that God gave his agreement, stamp of approval. She'ishru v'shivchu, that God approved and even praised. That's what Rashi says. Rashi is Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchak. He lived like 900 years ago. He's the main explainer of the Torah. And he says, God praised Moses that he broke him. We have to understand the Lashon, this word where it says Ishur, Vesler, this indicates as Askama that God agreed with Moses did. The Lashon from Shivchu, but when Rashi adds on that he even praised, God praised Moshe. This meant not just that God agreed, it means that the pool of a shavir that Moses broke the tablets, This is a good thing, and it's very dear by God. Wow, thank you, Moses. You broke the tablets. Which God praised Moses for doing it. What is the shevach? What is the praise? Why was that a good thing to break the tablets? You can't say that the praise which God gave to Moses for breaking the tablets is because the fact which is angenommen that he took for kavod from the Torah, that he was worried about the honor of the Torah. Was ered nit gewollt, given that the mumrin. Maybe you can say that the reason God praised him was because Moses was doing it for the honor of the Torah. I can't give such a precious thing and pure thing as the Torah to such low people that they're worshiping idols. And God said, oh, that's a good thing. Why? You can't say that. Why? Because Shiviras Aluchos, breaking the tablets, is the opposite of the honor of the Torah. You want to give honor to the Torah? Just don't give it to the Jews. Hide it or something. Hide the Torah. What are you breaking it for? Mendar farhitten, you want to honor the Torah. Zizal nit given to Mumrim. To not give it to you should have hid the Torah. Gonez zayin the luchos. Bishvil tachat ahar. Moses could have found a place underneath the mountain or some cave or something like that and put the Torah over there and not give it to them. Or put it into an ark or something. You don't have to break them. Let's go back to our example, right? you want to give the person a prize. You want to give him a big mansion, right? And you catch that the person is an embezzler. He's a cheater. He's a liar. So what do? Say, I'm not going to give you the mansion. You're not going to get it. I'll give it to somebody else. I'll hide it. Until you no. We're going to burn the whole thing down. Why are you doing that for? What are you going to burn the whole thing? Why break the tablets? Just because the Jews don't deserve it, you're going to break it? That's the opposite of giving honor to the tablets, right? It's like saying you want to give a beautiful painting. A painting, what is Leonardo da Vinci's painting? There's a painting which is priceless. Right? We're going to give it to someone as a prize. Instead of giving it to them, I'm going to burn it. What are you going to burn it for? Then nobody's going to get it. Keep it for yourself, Moshe. So no, we say that Moshe, he broke the tablets, and God said it's a good thing that you broke them. Why is it good that he broke them? And there's another reason for breaking the tablets. It says mutav shetadon kepenuya v'lo ke'eshet ish. It's better that the Jewish people, they cheated on God. They cheated on God. The Jewish people were supposed to be the wife of God. When God gave the Torah to the Jewish people, he married them. It says in the Song of Songs, we just finished learning. It says, B'yom chatunoto, b'yom simchat libo. It says the day that God gave the Torah to the Jewish people, the Torah is like the wedding ring, and he got married to the Jews. But the Jews worshiped the golden calf. So that's like a woman that cheats on her husband. So therefore, there's another explanation. That's why Moses broke the tablets. Why? Because if he breaks the tablets, then that's a sign that God has not married the Jewish people yet. So it's like a woman that's just like engaged or that's about to be engaged, and they catch her cheating with another man. So the tablets, they were the shtar ketuva. They are like here he says that they're like the wedding document, the marriage document between God and the Jewish people. And because kilkalo im acher, and because she cheated, the Jewish people cheated on God, they started worshiping a golden calf instead of him. Is natalat ketova. So he took the marriage document. It's called the ketuva. Took it and he tore it up. Moses tore it up. So now the Jewish people, true, they cheated on God, but they didn't cheat on God as a married woman. A married woman that cheats on her husband, the punishment is officially death. I mean, there is no death penalty in Judaism. There hasn't been for the last 2,000 something years. No, and even when there was a death penalty, it was almost impossible to impose it. But officially, there's the death penalty. It says the court that killed somebody and once in 70 years was called a hanging court. It almost never happened. It was almost But nevertheless, that's the law, officially the law. So Moses said, instead of the Jewish people being married to God and a married woman cheating on her husband, instead of that, I'm going to tear up the marriage document, and they're not going to be married anymore. Loidem, according to this, comes that by means of breaking the tablets, it came out a good for the Jewish people. By means of this, that he protected them from a worse punishment, which would come if they were married. According to this, so now we can understand why God praised Moses, because he saved the Jewish people. Says the Rebbe, that's a good reason, but not very good. Why? Oh, but this is not sufficient. It's not a sufficient reason. Why is it not sufficient a reason? Why? Because not only that, in order to save the Jewish people, you didn't have to break the tablets. You didn't have to tear up the wedding document. How he didn't give them the wedding document yet. It would have been enough just to conceal it or something like that. Just don't give it to them. This a little bigger here. And not only that, from the simple languages, it says it's a good thing that you broke the tablets. This implies that God said that breaking them is good, not just the result is good. In other words, Moses could have said, listen, what happens? A woman is married only when she receives the marriage document and the ceremony has been done. The ceremony is supposed to be that God gives them the tablets. That the tablets, that's the sign. That's the sign, giving them the tablets. So before giving them the tablets, they're not officially married yet. So it ended up that when they worshiped the golden calf, they really weren't exactly married yet. So what did breaking the tablets exactly do? Just don't give it to them. From Pasha to simply when it says that God praised Moses for giving it, for breaking the tablets, this means that it's not that God praised him because of the results. Versus therefore which came out as a result of that. No, but the breaking of the tablets itself was good. And Moses didn't really have to break the tablets in order to achieve this goal that he wanted to, that the Jewish people wouldn't be considered to be God's wife, but only God's, but they say engaged or about to be married. Even more of a question we can also ask is Velchazogan. It says as the hechrich oifen the asher shibarta, that God said it's a good thing. Yeshakoch, I'm so happy that you broke the tablets. Was learned from the word, and it says in Parshas Ekev, v'shibarta v'samtem ba'aron. It says that God told Moses, make an ark and put in the ark the second tablets that I'm going to give you, and also the broken tablets. From Velcham you learned that the broken tablets were also put into the ark, which was in the Holy of Holies. Shmami, that we can learn to this, that the broken tablets were something precious to God. It also says that when the Jews went out to war, they would bring the broken tablets with them. So if so, there was a special merit to them. The Rebbe doesn't bring that here, but it's another. The Elo, if not, God wouldn't say to put them in the ark and put them into the holy temple. The holy temple was supposed to protect the Jews. How do the broken tablets protect the Jews? Therefore, it's understood as this was Shaviris Lukos, the broken Lukos, must have been a good thing. It's not because that by means of that came out a result. It was a necessary thing, right, that came a result from the Jewish people. Ubafran, especially as the saving from as the sin, the sin of the Jewish people, which is because of that Moses had to come to breaking the tablets to save them, is as doch weiter is an Indian from Kategor. Why did he break them? Break the tablets? Because the Jewish people worship the golden calf. If so, putting the broken tablets in the Holy of Holies is always reminding the Jews of this terrible sin that they did. And just to remind everybody, the sin that the Jewish people did with the golden calf is the worst sin possible. There could not be a worse sin than the golden calf. Why? Because nowadays, if a person sins, so he sins because he didn't hear directly from God not to do it. right? Somebody told him, don't steal, don't worship idols, don't what is it, be licentious. But he heard it, he read it. That's for the religious people. I'm not religious. I'm not religious. Right? But when Mount Sinai, everybody heard from the Creator. You're not religious. You're being created. You are a creation of God, right? Right. You're a creation of God. God's creating you. Everybody felt it. Everybody knew it. Like I say, they were in the middle of the desert. They had just 90 days earlier, they had gotten out of Egypt. They saw big miracles. They were eating bread from God, from heaven. So they knew that God was creating them. It wasn't a matter of religion, take it or leave it. It was very life, very existence itself. And they heard God say, don't worship idols. They heard it. They didn't come from Moses or from the rabbi or from some book. It came from the essence of every cell in their body was screaming out, don't worship idols. God was. So there's no excuse whatsoever for what they did. They got confused. That you're going to remind the Jewish people all the time. The tablet is doch weiter in Indian from Kateger. This is like putting the accuser into the Holy of Holies, the broken tablets. Maybe we can explain it according to the Midrash that says that Moses was very pained. He was very, how do you say, very broken. He himself was broken, very pained that he had to break the tablets. God said, don't feel so bad. The first tablets, they had 10 commandments alone. But the second tablets I'm going to give you, they're going to have all sorts of laws. They're going to have midrash, all sorts of explanations. It says that the second tablets were kiflayim lotoshia. They were doubled and redoubled salvation. In the second tablets, there's going to be all these laws, new laws. There's going to be these explanations, wonderful, deep explanations, all of the arguments in the Talmud. It shows that it's okay to argue. It's a good thing to have your own opinion. And then you come to even a deeper conclusion. Maybe we can say that that's the reason Yesha Kocha. It's a good thing that you broke them. Why? That God was praising that breaking the tablets, because by means of these tablets, the broken tablets themselves, because by means of this, there was the second tablets. And the second tablets were in many ways higher than the first ones. Like it says, Kiflayim Litoshia, a double salvation power. Und wie verstandig, and like we understand, or from the makor, from this, what it says, Yesha Koch Shejibartam, what it says, it's a good thing that you broke them. That's right at the end of the Torah, right? It says, Luchot Asher Shibartam, Yesha Koch, that you broke them. As Omer Reish Lochesh said, Pamim, sometimes, should be Tulo Shel Torah Zeu Yesoda. Sometimes the breaking of the Torah, this is the foundation of the Torah, like it says, you have broke them. Yesha Koch, it's a good thing that you broke them. The simple meaning is that the breaking of the Torah, this is the foundation. What does it mean, foundation? As the Bitula Shel Torah Gufo, that sometimes the negation of the Torah itself, this brings about the foundation from the whole Torah. Because if we would just learn that Yesha Koch Shejabarta is only because of that you saved the Jewish people, so we can say that this is not the foundation of the Torah. Maybe you can say it's the foundation of the Jewish people. Somehow or other, breaking these tablets was an addition, a good thing as far as learning the Torah goes. I knew, namely, that here we stress that only through breaking the tablets was the Torah really firmly founded. Was it based? Because that by means of this, there was the giving of the second tablets, and the second tablets, it said, had more power to them. There was more learning. Therefore, it's also understood the question when it says, for vos is there ishur, the shevach, why is the breaking of the tablets not coming immediately when the tablets were broken? What happened? Moses broke the tablets. He came down and punished the Jewish people. There's 3,000 of them died for worshiping the golden calf. All the other Jewish people, only 3,000 really actively worshiped the golden calf, but all the rest stood by. They were passive. And because of that, so God said, I'll wipe them all out. So Moses said, "Listen, God, let me go up again. Let's have a talk. Go back into the office." So Moses went back up on Mount Sinai for 40 days, and he requested from God to forgive the Jewish people, and then God gave the Jewish people. Nor does as marumas. It says why. That's why God did not say it's a good thing you broke the tablets immediately when he broke them. That's when it should have been. If breaking the tablets was good. But it only comes after 40 days later when God told Moses, okay, carve out the second tablets and they'll be in the place of the ones you broke. So it shows that when did God praise Moshe for breaking the first tablets? 40 days after he broke them. Right? He broke the tablets when he came down from Mount Sinai the first time, 40 days. He broke the tablets. He was supposed to give them to the Jewish people. He broke the tablets. God said, I'm going to destroy all the Jewish people. Moses went up for another 40 days and he prayed to God. And he convinced God not to destroy the Jewish people. That's when God said, okay, make a second tablets that you broke. Asher shibarta, that you broke. It's a good thing that you broke them. Why? Because the second tablets, only when he gave the second tablets, then he said, okay, these second tablets, they're going to be double power on the first, they're going to be twice as much power as the first ones. It's a good thing you broke the first ones. That's why he praised Moses only then. So is aber da gufa, but there's also another question for was hat der Eibishter, why did God not give all of the laws in the Torah in the first tablets? Why did it depended on Moses breaking the tablets? If Moses wouldn't have broken the tablets, they wouldn't have gotten all these extra laws and all these extra arguments and all these. Why not? From the Midrash, it seems to be that only after when the first tablets were broken, only then could there be such a thing as a double power in the second tablets. And if as Welt gekommen, if it came Kaflaim the Teshia, this double power in the breaking of the tablets, as via Zoe wird Arup genommen, Tsaro Shal Moshe. And if it could have been, the first tablets also have double power. So then breaking the first tablets didn't really accomplish anything. What's God saying over here? Moses, is a good thing you broke the tablets, because if not, I wouldn't have given the second tablets, and the second tablets had a double power to them. Ask the Rebbe, why did you have to give the double power to the second tablets? Give it to the first tablets. Give it to the first tablets. And then when Moses broke the first tablets, so God would have given the second tablets. Say, okay, I'll reinstate the thing. Why the second tablets had to be doubled? If he wouldn't have broken the first tablets, then it wouldn't have been a double power. Says the Rebbe, it's a very big wonder, this whole thing. Was is der kasher of the Netinat the Torah, einem oifen kaflaim the Toshia, halachos and midrash agaris from the Shviras Haluchos Davka. Why did Moses have to break the tablets in order to get this double power? For God could have given the double power in the first. Says the Rebbe, I'll tell you why. Like we said many times, mihat showing garet kamapami. We already said many times. As Hagdama of a Tanai, an important thing and a basis for the Torah, in order that a Jew should be able to be a vessel to receive the Torah of God, there has to be, by the Indian of shiflus, the bittul, there has to be humility. Humility means the more Torah that you learn, the more humble you become. It's very, very possible, let's say, like a professor, right? He learns, he's a big professor in mathematics. So anyone who comes around him with mathematics, who are you? What do you, this is the great Professor Grace. He knows yes, he does it. So inside of himself, he knows he's the best. He knows he's the best. The same thing with the Torah. The Torah, that mathematics you can change, maybe it's wrong, but the Torah, that's true, pure truth from God, the creator of mathematics, who's creating everything. So a person, when he learns Torah, then he can really become a super egotist. Maybe not externally, but internally he feels I'm really better than everybody else. If so, he's missed the whole point of the Torah. The Torah is not ours. It's God's Torah. Vi men zok, like we say in the prayers, Elokei, God, Nutzur, it says in the prayer, Elokei Nutzur, after we finish the whole, you have to buy a Hebrew, a Jewish prayer book, and there's a prayer which we say 3 times a day, and on Shabbat there's 4 times, and after you finish the prayer, it's got 18 blessings in it. On Shabbat and Yom Tov, it says 7 blessings. But after you finish those blessings, there's one paragraph that we say. And what do we say? We say like this. We say, my soul should be like dirt to everyone. Open my heart to your Torah. In order to have your heart open to the Torah, that your Torah is the Hagdama, the preparation for this is total surrender, total, how do you say, humility before God. Or nitztam bittel, but always like dirt to everyone. Dirt, you step on it, it doesn't get angry, doesn't get depressed. Dirt is just happy that it's there. But also another thing about dirt is that everything grows from the dirt. And that's what you say to yourself, I want to be like dirt. Dirt means I'm happy that I exist. I'm just happy that I'm here. People say bad things about me. They shame me. I think, listen, if what they say is true, then I have to fix myself up. If it's not true, so it's not true. What do I take it for? I'm not going to be ashamed by people. I'm not going to be angry at people. I'm not going to be jealous of people. I'm not going to this. And on the other hand, let everybody grow from me. I'll say good things about people. I'll praise people, using the Torah to improve the world. In order to do that, I have to be like, how do you say, like the ground level. Und wie the Gemara, like the Gemara says, if a person puts himself like a desert, that's where the Torah was given in the desert, that everyone can walk over him, then the Torah will remain in him, sustained in him. She is nit maspik. It's not enough that he that he feels that he doesn't really take up anything regarding God, not in the Torah. Good. As far as God goes, of course, I'm humble. Nor is Muzan Girfo the Shiflus Gabi Bnei Adam, also other people. I can say, in God, of course, God gives me everything. But what am I being humble before this other person? It doesn't give me anything. I'm not receiving anything from him. Val Torah, because Torah is the Torah of God. The Torah is the wisdom of God. Was Kashem, just like God is infinite, und der Seichel, and the intellect of the Torah is infinite. So therefore, it's impossible that we can no creation can possibly grasp what God is. Similarly, also the wisdom of God is also higher from any creation. We can't possibly understand it. We're just lucky we can learn the Torah. When and even though that God, it says he contracted himself, so to speak, in his life in order to put the laws of the Torah. Nidrik, that God brought himself down, and he clothed himself in the things of the Torah like it is before us, in a way that also a human mind can understand the ideas of the Torah. But you always have to remind yourself that the ideas in the Torah are not the ideas of a book. This is the wisdom of God himself. How it comes down below. The whole essence of the Jewish people is to make the world a holy, godly place. And that begins with your mind. If you can understand that you're learning ideas in the Torah, that these same ideas appear in other religions and other places and other this. So it's man-made. Man-made. It says, no, the Torah is not man-made. The same thing is man is not man-made. You have a mother and father. They created you? Not exactly. You are a miracle. And who's creating you right now? Your mother and father are creating you now? No, they created you 10 years ago, 100 years ago, whatever. Who's creating you right now? God. Who's creating your parents when they create? God. So from the Torah, you can start to understand that this physical world can be pure godliness. That's the goal of Judaism. That's what's called tikkun olam. You fix up the world so that everything in the world has a meaning to it. Everything is being created by God for a purpose, and that begins with the Torah. The purpose is what the Torah is, but the Torah also itself, just the words of the Torah, to understand that those words are the words of God. And not only when they're in the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, also in the words of the prophets, and also in the words of the Talmud, until it finally comes down to just physical things in the world. When the Rebbe, therefore, in order that a creation, that a person can really truly get the idea of the godliness in the Torah, therefore you have to be like dirt. You have to be, if you want to call it, broken. The bittul from Metzius, from a nivra b'tachlis, that you have to be totally surrendered to God and say that everything I am and everything I have is a big gift. That's the whole idea with the broken tablets and the second tablets, which the tablets were given with all these laws and arguments and midrash and explanations. And deep, that's just called the oral Torah, the Talmud. I know from the Inyanim, one from the things which is recognized that as der Herzich, the Torah, how you can see if Torah is, even in this world, is the wisdom of God, is the idea of the infinity of which we can see in the Torah. Like it says in Mishlei, it's in Proverbs, it says that the Torah is wider than the sea. No, it's in Job. In Job, the book of Job. It says that the Torah is wider than the sea, it's bigger than the earth. Was there Ein Sof, the infinity of the Torah? This is only in the oral Torah. How is it in the oral Torah? The written Torah, we can see everything is limited. You're not allowed to add one letter in the Torah scroll or remove one letter. If one letter is extra, it has to be erased. If one letter is missing, then you have to add it in. It has to be very exact, precise, which is not the case of the oral Torah, the Talmud, or the Midrash, exactly the opposite. It has to be that you learn more and more. There's more and more and more commentaries. Mendarf Mechadizan, you have to make new ideas in the Torah. There's no end to it. You see, especially now, you have, now there's, for instance, in the time when the Torah was given, there was no electricity. So let's see, what is electricity? It's forbidden to light a fire in your house. Can you turn on your lights in your house? Turning on lights in the house, you just press a little button, and you're not lighting anything. So is it permissible? So the rabbis say, well, we have to talk about this. So some say, no, that's okay. No, it's not okay. What are you talking about? And finally, they all agree that it's not okay. But in order to do that, you had to have all sorts of arguments. Right? And then there's also various types of it. So maybe you're not, let's say you have a light. Can you uncover it? Just uncover it, right? Maybe you're making light in the room. Is that forbidden? Maybe it's not. So all these questions and many, many more, can there be organ transplants and things like that? They didn't have to. So there's more and more arguments all the time which are opening up, which that's what God wants. And that the Torah goes into every nook and cranny of existence, every second of your life. And therefore, there has to be the laws and the midrash and the agadas. They had to be given only after the breaking of the tablets. When God gave the Torah, this was in the time when God had chosen the Jewish people. Like it says, Bono B'charta, that God, you chose us from all the other people. Together with Romamtanu, you elevated us from all the other nations. And therefore it's understood that in the 5 books of Moses, the Jewish people feel high, elevated, superior. We're chosen by God. There's no way that we're going to be humble in front of everybody. We have to bring the Torah to all mankind, and we have what to teach, and everybody has to only learn from us. Emes, true, it's true, it is true. That's from the written Torah. We're always reminded that we're God's chosen people. That's from the written Torah. True, it is, Taka, as when God revealed himself on Mount Sinai, it brought about that the feeling of fear and surrender of the Jewish people at the time when God gave the Torah. But that's in front of God. Is nitka kuman from the Galuyim Milamayla. But to be humble from other people, that doesn't come from God. The Yidden Mitzaratzon, they themselves, they were the highest that they could possibly be. True, we felt that we were humble in front of God, but in front of people, no way. God gave us his precious, the precious treasure of God. God gave us the Torah. Zayin Nitgaven, it wasn't relevant that my soul should be like dirt in front of everybody, that everyone should walk on me. What are you talking about? God just chose me. And that's what the idea that God said, it's a good thing that you broke the tablets, because the breaking of the tablets, this is in a way of Ashabrei, that Moses broke the tablets in front of all the Jews. This brought about by the Jews the feeling of Shiflus v'Shvirut Alev. It broke the hearts of the Jews. Was thus this made them a vessel which is fitting that they could really accept all of the extra blessings of the Torah. True humility, not only before God, but also before everyone. In other words, when they received the Torah from God, they thought about themselves and their relationship to God, but they didn't think so much about their relationship to the world. They didn't feel they have to benefit everyone in the world. They're kings. A king has to benefit everybody. And when they got the second tablets, then they already felt that they were broken. They weren't the best. Suddenly they felt that now they have to get down into the world and forget about their greatness before God. But not 100%. We're going to see. Therefore, we can also understand why the tablets and the broken tablets were both in the ark. Why? Because this is the only way you can serve God is by having both. The tablets, their whole thing is that the tablets the letters were carved into the stone, which when they're carved in, the letters are not an additional thing to the stone. All right. Nor the oasis zayin and mine obey, the letters are part of the stone itself. In other words, the letters weren't just there was stone and God carved them in. The letters came out of the stone. The letters part of the stone. Vayzein and chilik, they are a part of the stone itself, which is not the case. A Sefer Torah that we have, like in the synagogues, that it's written. There's ink on a page. The ink is an additional thing to the page. When this is hinted that an amazing unity which the Jewish people have with the Torah. I know we've said this a lot of times before, but now in Israel, for instance, I've seen it a lot. The Jews put on tefillin because they're Jews. They don't do it because they're religious. A lot of Jews are not religious. They're not religious. They don't keep this commandment. They don't keep that, but they put on tefillin or they keep Shabbat. Why do they do that? They don't do it for heritage reasons or to go to heaven or something like that. They're not interested in that. Why do they? Because they're a Jew. And they want the tefillin have to be kosher. There's other Jews now, especially soldiers. They wear tzitzis all the time. They don't have kippas on, but they wear tzitzis, a garment that has strands on it. Why? I'm a Jew. And they tuck the tzitzis in the pants, so you don't even see them. It's not a sign, anything like that. Why it's a commandment. It's carved into the Jewish soul. This is by means of learning the Torah. That the intellect of a person becomes surrounded and permeated with the wisdom of God. And therefore, at the same time, when you're learning the Torah, you're taking the ideas of God into your mind. It's almost like the same thing as the carved out letters in the Torah. When the tablets with the carved out letters in them were broken, this hints at being broken, not to feel that you're superior to anyone. Was father, which demands by a person that you can use the Torah, nafshi kafar, that the Torah will then make you more humble. Suddenly, the integrity, the holiness of the Torah became broken. These two things which are demanded from a Jew are two opposites. When a person learns the Torah, you have to be separate. You have to be intellect. You have to be very intellectual. That it has to be in your mind. a person with a low IQ, it's very difficult for him to learn the Torah. So he can learn a little bit of the Torah, but he can't. You're supposed to try to be as intelligent as possible. Was das is bechlal. This is the difference between doing the commandments and learning the Torah. By doing the commandments, you don't really have any, doesn't demand any excellence. Just God, you commanded us to do, and everyone can, you just follow what God says, which is not the case learning the Torah. When you learn the Torah, it's not enough just to do what God says. You just can't read the words. You have to understand. You have to understand the ideas, and the more you understand, the more you're doing the commandment of learning the Torah. When a person learns the Torah, it's not enough that you just have faith in God and you believe that the Torah is true. When you learn the Torah, it means you have to learn, you have to use your mind. You have to use your mind, and it should come and be understood. When a Jew has a question in the Torah, so it has to be a question that has to bother him because of your intellect. I don't understand. And the answer has to be a question that should give him a certain comfort, should remove the difficulty that he had. He didn't understand something. That's what boys do. That's what yeshivas. Millions, billions of dollars are spent. And there's people that go around collect money just so that young boys can sit and learn the Talmud. And sometimes these aren't even laws that are even relevant to action. You're learning Torahs about Yabamas and about the Para Aduma, things like that don't have any relevance to now, but you're learning the wisdom of God. And in learning the wisdom of God, you have to understand. You have to ask questions. That type of Torah brings about a tremendous unity in the mind in the 5th chapter of the Tanya. But on the same time that you have to be an egotist when you learn the Torah, and you have to use your mind and have your questions and your answers, and you have to reject other answers, etc. You have to argue with somebody who gives a different answer, and he argues back with you, and then sometimes you have to say, okay, maybe I'm wrong, maybe. But on the other hand, and so you have to try to be superior when you learn the Torah. But and on the other hand, in order to learn the Torah, it has to be in a way that it's not you conquer the Torah, but the Torah conquers you. You have to have a desire to want to know the Torah in its truth. As in Seichel Adam, that in your human mind, it should be the understanding that I am not learning the Torah and conquering it. Exactly the opposite. The Torah is the wisdom of God, and it is conquering me. Was is Be'ein Arich, which is the wisdom of God, which is totally above my understanding. So I can understand the Talmud very well, and I can give a wonderful class, and I can ask questions that just knock everybody out. Nobody knows the answer, and I'm the only one that knows the answer. Muz thereby, so therefore you have to have, therefore you feel great. The Torah should give you the opposite feeling. You should feel like dirt in front of everybody. Was durach them, which because of this elevates a person over just human mind. This connects you to the wisdom of God. How can you have these two opposites together? How can it? The answer is that the tablets and the broken tablets are both in the ark, in the Aron. Regarding the ark, it says that the place of the ark was not measurable. What does it mean, not measurable? Vostos is achibu, which is the joining two opposites together. The place of the ark, a place which has a definite measurement to it. The ark had to be 2.5 amos long and 1.5 amos high and 1.5 amos deep. It had to be 2 amos. Nevertheless, there was no measure to it. It said it had to be 2.5 and etc. When Suzama, but together it had no place. We talked about this before. Once a year in the Holy of Holies, they would lower someone down from the top in order to clean out the Holy of Holies, to clean the place. Sometimes it would be dust, whatever, to clean it. So the ark had to be exactly in the middle. So let's say the Holy of Holies was 10 amas wide. 10 amas wide. And the ark was 2.5 amas long. So the ark should have taken up 2.5 amas in the middle. So when you measured from one end of the ark to the wall, it should have been missing something, right? In other words, it couldn't be that from the one end of the ark to the wall was 5 amas, and from the other end was also 5 amas, which meant that it was 10 amas there with the ark in the middle. No, can't be. Then if so, then the room would have been 12 and a half hours. But it's not so. When you measured from one end of the room to the other was 10 amas. And when you measured from the ark, one end of the ark to the wall and the other end of the ark to the wall, it was 5 amas each. So the ark, it says, wasn't eno mina mida. It was there and it wasn't there. The ark had to be an exact measurement, but at the same time, it couldn't be measured. At the same time. Why? How can that possibly be? It's the same thing like in the Talmud. In the Talmud, you have all these arguments between people, and they're the opposite, and all of the opinions there are the word of God. How can you have both of them together? How can you also have egotism and use your mind and etc. and still be totally humble? It says because in the ark there was a joining of God's essence with the world, was who Yisbrich, which God is the impossible of impossibles. God can carry all opposites, like the Rashba says, one of the commentaries of the Torah. Ubemela, so therefore, it can be joining two impossible opposites together. And that should be embodied in every single Jew. So it's also the same thing with the ark. In the soul of every person, there is a holy temple, and there's also the Holy of Holies. That inside you should have all of these things, the tablets and the broken tablets should be together. Because of the service of a Jew in his soul, that every Jew is united with the essence of God. So therefore, a Jew has the unity, the essence of God. So a Jew can have both opposites. On one hand, he has to be superior to everyone. I'm a Jew. I'm the chosen from God. At the same time, you have to be inferior to everyone. I have to learn from everybody. I have to serve everybody. I'm a public servant. And that's the whole idea of the tablets and the broken tablets are essential to Judaism, both together. Okay, let's